What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel, your hub for everything physical media and entertainment. I am Ken, here today for a Criterion review. That is right, a Criterion review. So I picked up so many titles in the 50% off July Barnes & Noble sale. I think I picked up like 14 new titles added to the Criterion collection. And I wanted to start, watching them and giving my thoughts on them, doing some standalone reviews. I know that some of these are very old titles. They're not new or flashy or exciting, but they're new to me and I want to watch them. I want to talk about them. I may not do standalone reviews for every single one of them. I may group some of them up into just like a full-on Criterion review video, maybe 5 or 6 titles. But I did want to try to watch every single Criterion in my collection before the next sale hits in November. So we're going to start today with The Seventh Seal. Well, this is actually my second one because I did review Chronos a couple of weeks ago, Guillermo del Toro's film. So let's start with The Seventh Seal. So yeah, I've been wanting to watch this one for a long time. This is my introduction to the filmography of Ingmar Bergman, and I hope that I'm pronouncing that name correctly. But yeah, I have never seen a Bergman film before, and I figured, what better film to start with? This is the one that I see, a lot of people like posting shots of on Instagram. It definitely looks like one of the more interesting titles in his filmography, just with that visual representation of death, and you have Max von Sydow in the film. So I definitely was drawn to this one just from the visual aesthetic of it. So yeah, we're going to break this down. We're going to talk about the movie. We're going to talk about the features and the audio-visual quality and the packaging and all that good stuff. But before we do that, guys, if you're new to the channel, if you've never checked out the Mid-Level Media channel before, please hit that subscribe button. I do all kinds of great physical media-based content on this channel, reviews like this, physical media updates and reports every single Monday. I do Blu-ray out and about videos, vlog videos, Dollar General vlog videos, just tons of physical media content coming at you pretty much every day. So definitely hit that subscribe button. And also be sure to like this video, guys. Every single like will help this video out and help this channel grow, and I would greatly appreciate it. And yeah, be sure to comment down below if you have any thoughts on The Seventh Seal. What do you think of the movie? Did you purchase this Criterion release? What are your thoughts on that? Yeah, just any thoughts you have on this movie or my review or anything you want to comment, leave that in the comment section below. I always love interacting with you guys down there. So let's get into this movie. This, of course, is directed by Ingmar Bergman. This is a Swedish film. He's a Swedish filmmaker. This is a 1957 film, so it came out, it's damn near, 65 years old, has how old this movie is. So yeah, this particular release came out in 2009, so it's an almost 12-year-old Criterion release. It's starring Max von Sydow, of course. Like, I know him from my favorite horror movie of all time, The Exorcist. He was also in Game of Thrones, countless other projects, but those are the two that come to my mind first. And then you got Birgit Eckerath as Death, and I know I'm pronouncing that wrong. I get all kinds of shit from my pronunciations sometimes, but that's the guy that plays Death. So those are the two more notable actors of the film, I would say. So this is a very influential and very important film in the history of world cinema. It's definitely one that cinephiles talk about often. And how I would describe this movie, now I'll just kind of read the synopsis off the back, but this is pretty much takes place during the Crusades. So it's like a historical film, but it's also like a fantasy film because there's some fantasy elements in the movie. So basically you have Max von Sydow. He's disillusioned and exhausted after a decade of battling in the Crusades. He encounters death on a desolate beach and challenges him to a fateful game of chess. Much studied. So yeah, and that's pretty much what I knew of this film, is that Max von Sydow is in it. He meets death on the beach and they play chess. I didn't really know the circumstances surrounding it. So this movie really wasn't what I expected it to be, because I more or less expected this to be just them two on the beach playing chess, like almost the whole movie. I expected it to just be them with a dialogue back and forth on the beach, because when I see images of this film, like still images and people posting like the cinematography, that's mostly the only images I see is Death and Max von Sydow on the beach playing chess. So I expected it to be a whole movie of that. It's only 90 minutes long. I thought they would fit some like some sort of like quippy dialogue on the beach, or just them two back and forth kind of carrying the movie. That's not really what this movie is. It's more it's more than that. It's a lot more than that. It's more of like a sprawling narrative across the countryside with tons of characters interwoven through their interactions with Max von Sydow. So he comes back after fighting in the Crusades, and this is basically, there's a lot of metaphors and a lot of symbolism for death, but basically the Black Plague was sweeping the land, killing off people during this time. So death is kind of a metaphor for the Black Plague that's coming to kill everyone in the land. So he meets death on the beach when he returns. So that's basically them saying that he comes back and discovers that the Black Plague has taken over his land. And then he proposes the game of chess to kind of play for his life. And they start on the beach, but then they play. It's pretty much like death is chasing him across the countryside. And they stop every so often to engage in the game of chess, and they move their pieces, and then they move on. So it's almost like Max von Sydow is trying to escape him, but he keeps following him wherever he goes. So it's a really cool idea. It's a really different idea. It continues to blow my mind with all of these just like original ideas and concepts that you can go all the way back to like 1965 and check out. Never seen a movie like this. So nobody's ever really, as far as I know, tried to replicate a movie like this in the way that Bergman does with this film. So I think that's kind of interesting. Of course, you have like just the look of death himself has been imitated by like films like Bill and Ted. You can see that's obviously where they got that from. William Sadler's death character is almost ripped from this movie. It's like, it just looks directly like him. It's a very striking image of death. The movie follows Max von Sydow. He's going across the countryside. He's got his squire with him and their interactions with other characters. They meet a husband and wife and their baby. They meet a woman, another husband and wife, and the woman's like cheating on him with a guy in the bushes. And then they meet like a rogue girl. Like they find her in an abandoned town somewhere, and she's like getting ready to kill a guy, and he stops her and then basically takes her as like a slave, the squire does. So you have all of these characters like in the countryside, and yeah, this movie's very dense and deep, and I don't know if I can really explain everything that's going on here in probably the best way, the most intellectual way that I probably need to. This requires at least maybe 2 to 3 watches to really get into all the nuances at play here. But yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. I enjoyed the story. It's like I said, it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. It's very different. It's also not as dreary as the premise sounds, and as dark as the premise sounds. It's really kind of lighthearted and comedic in a lot of parts of the movie. A lot of the dialogue is very comedic in nature. There is some lighthearted moments to be had here. I'm thinking of the moment where the guy climbs up in the tree and death meets him at the bottom of the tree, and he's basically cutting it down with a saw. And that's like the end of his life. That's like death taking his life. And he's like, "What are you doing down there?" He's like, "I'm just cutting the tree." And then it falls down and he dies. So that was a humorous moment in the movie. So there's all kinds of those moments of like levity interwoven with these like deep philosophical ideas about death and life and stuff. So it's a dense movie in that respect, but it also brings in a certain level of like lightheartedness for you to enjoy the movie. You don't leave this movie feeling like deeply depressed or anything like that. So I enjoyed this movie. I really liked it, to be honest. It's well shot. It's beautifully directed. Like some of the shots in this movie are just some of the best I've ever seen. So you can tell that Bergman's just a master of the craft. I definitely want to check out more of his filmography following this film for sure. So very striking visuals, and I'm trying to think if there's just anything else I want to talk about here. Like it's just a very dense and deep movie. I need to watch this a couple of more times. I don't think it's a perfect movie. It's not like a masterpiece to me. I would give it like a 4 out of 5 as of right now, but this is a movie that could creep up on me. The more I watch it, I might learn to appreciate it for other aspects of it. But as a first time watch, I would give it a 4 out of 5. Max von Sydow is great in this film. A very young Max von Sydow, so that's kind of cool to see. Let's go ahead and get into the visuals of this film. So it is an aspect ratio of 1:33:1. So very much like a box type thing, which this is a very old movie. So that's you come to expect that. So it's like a box aspect ratio right there. So the transfer itself, this is a 2009 release, coming out pretty much when Blu-ray was really like getting its start and getting up and running. I think this is a fantastic transfer. It's a black and white film, but the details are really, really great in this one. Some really great facial details. Like when they show death, like the close-up, it just looks really, really great. Like, yeah, everybody looks really great. You can see the pricklies on Max von Sydow's beard when they do the close-up on him, and the Squire as well. So there's some really good detail in this one. And of course, they've announced, I'm pretty sure, the British Film Institute's doing a 4K remaster of this movie. So I'm sure that's going to look even better. But I think that the visuals here are top notch for this Criterion release. So nothing really, no real issues there. I didn't have none at all as far as like the visual quality of this one. As far as the audio, this is an uncompressed monaural soundtrack. Everything sounded really great to me. No issues. Like I said, I'm just listening to this on a soundbar. You do get English dub, and you also get English subtitles. So I watched it with English subtitles because I prefer watching my movies in that way versus the dub, because sometimes the dub can be a little distracting. So I just watched it with the subtitles, because I watch most movies with subtitles anyway. And it all sounded pretty good. But it's cool that you had those two options. If you're not a fan of subtitles and you want to listen to the English dubbing there, you have that option. So as far as the packaging, this is just your standard Criterion packaging. There's not a ton special about it. I'm still not a huge fan of their packaging and their cases with their releases. You know, it's just a regular like case, but you do get a really cool booklet inside with tons of cool photos and just like insights into the film and stuff like that. So cool little booklet in this movie as well. So as for the features, guys, some great special features in here. You got 2.5 hours of special features. You get an 83-minute documentary on Bergman by journalist Myri Narad, featuring in-depth and revealing interviews with the director. So I actually watched this entire documentary to kind of give myself a little oversight of all of Bergman's filmography, and definitely a director I want to dive deeper into. There is a Criterion set, a 30-disc Bergman Criterion set with like pretty much his entire filmography. I think it is his entire filmography on this set. So definitely one that maybe will be worth checking out during the Criterion sale if it goes down half price. For sure, if you really want to dive deep into the Bergman filmography. I think I have to see a couple more of his films to know if I really want that full set, but definitely films like Persona, Cries and Whispers, those are one that are probably like top of my list for the next movies I want to check out from this director. So you also get an introduction by Bergman recorded in 2003. This is a really fun little short introduction, him talking about the movie, you know, filmed in his home like right before they were getting ready to screen it. And the way he like talks about his career, it's like he never was really sure like what he was making at the time, if it's going to be a masterpiece, if it's going to be good, if it was going to be well received. But he said that he knows for a fact that The Seventh Seal would probably be like among his top 10 films of all time that he ever directed. So he knows that he did great work with this movie. So that was interesting. Another interesting thing is in that documentary that I watched, they talk about how the Swedish didn't really receive his work very well, or appreciate his work back when he did it in like the 50s and 60s. And it wasn't until after his death and they heard the outcry of everybody memorializing him and respected him for all the work that he did, that they realized, well, hey, I think we had a national treasure on our hands here. So that was kind of interesting that he didn't really get the respect he deserved in his homeland. It was more like everywhere else in the world that knew he was a great filmmaker in his own home country didn't even realize it. So, you know, you get the audio commentary by Bergman and expert Peter Cowell. You also get archival audio interview with Max von Sydow, a 1989 tribute to Bergman by filmmaker Woody Allen, which was a good little interview with him. I thought that was pretty interesting. Bergman 101, a selective video filmography tracing Bergman's career, narrated by Cowie. This is a good one if you really want to learn about his filmography and just everything that he's got. Theatrical trailer and, you know, the subtitles and all that stuff. So some really good special features in this one overall. So at the end of the day, guys, this is absolutely... I think it's probably going for like $27.99 right now on Amazon.com. Of course, you could wait till the sale in November to pick this one up. But yeah, definitely one of the better Criterion releases that I've watched for sure, and a really great movie that I would highly recommend that any fan of film would check out. So with that, guys, we are done with this review. I appreciate you guys watching. I will be leaving the link down below to purchase for this film. It will be an Amazon affiliate link. So if you do use it, you will be supporting the channel. And also be sure, guys, to like this video, comment down below your thoughts on this film, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications for all of those future videos, and we'll see you later.